ज्ञानेन आकाशकल्पेन धर्मान्यो गगनोपमान् ज्ञेया भेदेन सम्बुद्धः तं वन्दे द्विपदाम्बरम्. Among the various definitions given to the word dharma, one of the most appealing definitions is by Vaisheshika Sutra. This sutra, yataha abhyudaya nisreyasa siddhihi sadharmaha. Yataha abhyudaya nisreyasa siddhihi sadharmaha. Dharma is that through which abhyudaya and nisreyasa get accomplished. So, by defining the term dharma, two more complex words have come. Abhyudaya and nisreyasa. Without understanding these two words, it becomes impossible to understand dharma if this is the definition. Let us first take this abhyudaya. Let us see the literal meaning of abhyudaya. Abhi udaya. Udaya generally means dawn, D-A-W-N. And again, if you break the word udaya, it becomes ut-aya. Ut means upward. Aya is the motion, upward motion, udaya. Going up, we may say, going up. The indicative meaning is development. Udaya means development. Then the prefix abhi is added here. Abhi means around. Abhi udaya means development around. Very interesting. It is not just the development of one's own self. When it comes to the context of development, just developing one's own self cannot be dharma. Cherishing one's own ego cannot be dharma. But the development should include the people around. Maybe my family, development of my family, and then development of my caste, my creed, development of my class, development of my race, development of my language, language speaking people, development of my state, development of my country, development of my continent, something like that, development of my religion. Anything that goes beyond me, okay? People around me. If I think welfare to the people around me, okay? In this expansion, the more the things get expanded, the more the dharmic values are added, okay? Thinking about the welfare of family, is better than thinking about my own personality, my own life. Okay. I prioritize my own self. I don't care about my family. From such a kind of tendency, a being comes out and thinks about his family. Therefore, concern about family, thinking about the welfare of family. Here is an expansion. This is a greater Dharma than thinking about his own self, his own ego. And thinking about his own community is greater Dharma than thinking about one's own family. Thinking about the welfare of one's nation, I can say, is far, far better than thinking about one's own community and thinking about the whole universe, universal welfare, aspiring the universal welfare, manifesting some action, aspiring the universal welfare can be far, far better than thinking about one's own nation. That is how it goes. While the European countries like Spain or England or Portuguese, when they conquered others, when they invaded, cutting others and beating others, they too had a high kind of morality. In psychology, it is called as in-group morality. In-group morality. The Spanish soldiers, they were ambitious of the welfare of their own nation, okay, and their own people. Thinking about the welfare of country or the people in the country is good. Can be better than thinking about the welfare of one's own personality, one's own self. But for that, they can do anything for others. They can harm others. I'm working for my country. Okay, the greatest patriot of the world, Hitler, and greatest race lover. Okay, my own race. And he did good things for his race, what he called as race. Nowadays, science doesn't approve race at all. Okay. Race is just in notion. If this is the case, then all things are only in notion. Okay. Even nations, boundaries, community, race, all these things are only in notion. They are not found in reality. Okay. But for some reasons, humans tend to create all these things. It's a fact. Humans have always a tendency to create all these things because division is notional truths. Okay. By notion, humans tend to divide and live. It is there. Therefore, whether we like it or not, we are living in it. We are living in these divisions. And for some transactional purposes, these divisions are there in the world. As the people follow the course of division, we also, it's peer pressure to follow the course of divisions. But the thing is, based on Bhagavad Gita, if you see, we can understand, even though for transactional purposes, we can follow the path of divisions, we should have always in the mind that the division is just a notional reality. Beyond that, there is an undivided principle which covers all, okay, which is the unity in the existing diversity which exists only for transactions. Okay, coming back to the point, those who don't have this idea, they fight. In-group morality is present. Okay. Among the English soldiers, Spanish soldiers who entered into USA on those days, they were all great patriots. And they wanted to serve their queen, their king, and their nation. If you see how they move with their own phenomenon, how an English person moved with another English person, it would be definitely very decent, gentle, noble. All things they followed, like nobility, gentleness, truthfulness, all those things. But when it comes to the others, this is very important. Others who did not belong to their race, their nation. When it comes to others, their mindset changes. Okay. Did they have dharma or not? If this is the question, then we can say, yes. Among their own people, they aspired the welfare. And of course, they did some welfare-related activities. In that sense, that is dharma only. But on the other hand, they dominated others. They harmed others, which becomes a very great adharma. A very great adharma. Therefore, in that sense, we need to think that they, regarding their own groups, were dharmic. Regarding others, they were adharmic. Ravana too had some dharma in him. For example, taking care of his own people, taking care of his own city, his own kingdom, and the architecture, the marvelous architecture, which even Hanuman was amazed on seeing, which such a kind of architecture, such a kind of development, which Hanuman could see in Lanka. In all those contexts, taking care of his own people, there we need to say that Ravana had an element of dharma. But okay, to that extent. But beyond that, does he have the passion of universal welfare? If this question comes, then definitely no. Take, for example, Duryodhana. He had an element of dharma. He was highly opportunistic. He took care of the people who can help him while he was going against Pandavas. Okay. If some guy if he sees the potential in some guy who can help him, he does welfare for that guy. This is an opportunistic attitude. But anyhow, there he is offering some welfare to somebody, right? So that is a kind of dharma. For example, well, Yudhishthira lost everything and went to the forest for several months, Duryodhana took care of the Yudhishthira's ministers, Yudhishthira's employees very well, so that they would not talk ill of him later. That was his mind. Therefore, he took care of them very well. This is how it is told in Mahabharata. He took care of them very well. Is it dharma? If this question comes to some extent, you see this dharma there. This is Duryodhana's dharma. He can bestow welfare to anyone if that anyone can help him in some mean. Up to that, Duryodhana is bestowing welfare to others. Duryodhana can be called as dharmic. But dharma's scope is beyond that. It's not just a family, it's not just a race or caste or creed. It's not just our own class or community. Beyond all those things, lokas samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all the beings in the world be happy. This attitude becomes dharma, and this attitude is resonated throughout our scriptures, starting from the Veda. Starting from the Veda up to Puranas, up to the regional literature. You can see this everywhere. Indra ashabhyaspari sarvabhyaha abhayam karat. May Indra offer abhayam for all beings in the world. This is what we see in the Veda, the Vedic mantra. Same is echoed in Yajurveda. Mitrasyaham chakshusha sarvani bhutani samikshe. May I see all beings with the eye of love. And Vishwesham hitaha devebir manushe, like that in Samaveda. Vishwesham hitaha, Vishwajanyam matim, universal welfare. And you see the same in Ramayana, Sarvabhuteshu ko hitaha. Ramayana starts with the statement, who aspires welfare for the whole universe? Please tell me about him, sir. Valmiki asked this question. Valmiki's hero's Lakshana. Throughout the epic, it is getting resonated. Sarvesham hisa dharmatma varnanam kurute dayam. Rama showers compassion to all beings belonging to all communities. Mahabharata again talks about this same universal welfare throughout the epic. The same way, this spirit of universal welfare is getting resonated in our Dharma Shastras, in our Puranas, and in the saints, in the compositions of saints in regional languages. If you see the Devarnama in Kannada or Alvar's compositions in Tamil, Ingum Thirurul Putru, Inburvar in Bavai, or Siddha's songs, something like Yellorum in Butchurukave, Yellorum in Butchurukave, and the Sangam literature song, Yadum Ure Yavurum Kelir, Kanin Puguntranar. Everywhere in Marathi compositions, in Tukaram, in Samartha Ramadas, you see this concept of universal welfare. Abhi Udaya, the development around. If I have a narrowed scope that I can develop my own self, okay, that is not dharma, but the development should contribute to others too. That is taken here to be dharma, abhyudaya. In previous session, we saw one term, atru. Atru means, contextually I am talking, contextually, literally atru means eater, consumer, but contextually, the object which we consume, we think that we consume, that object consumes us. Therefore, this terminology comes Atru. What is the Lakshanam of this Atru? The joy or any object, any mean which promises immediate pleasure leading to prolonged misery. This is Atru Lakshanam. Again, I repeat. The mean which promises immediate joy leading to prolonged misery. This in previous session I called as evil force. This is the Lakshana of evil force. And the topic in previous session was eliminating the evil forces. From the Veda, we saw several examples regarding this. Something like gambling or heavily drinking, so on and so forth. That which starts with the immediate pleasure, followed by prolonged misery. Third time I'm repeating. So, this is adharma. Then, regarding dharma, what's the feature of dharma? It should be the other way around. It should be the opposite of adharma, right? What is adharma? The mean which promises immediate pleasure followed by a prolonged misery. If that is the case, then what must be the feature of dharma? The mean which may offer immediate misery, immediate difficulty, followed by a prolonged joy. This has to be dharma. This is the feature of dharma. Again, I repeat. The mean which offers as an immediate difficulty, and later that which offers us a prolonged joy. Okay. That is this Abhyudaya. The feature of Abhyudaya goes in this way. Again, I repeat. The Abhyudaya offers us immediate trouble, immediate difficulty, but gradually it leads us to a prolonged joy, prolonged delight. This is the concept of Abhyudaya. We have seen one more term also. That is Atru, then Abhyudaya, then the third term, Nisreyasa. I am recollecting. Nisreyasa. Abhyudaya and Nisreyasa. We started with the definition of Vaiseshika Sutra regarding Dharma. Yataha Abhyudaya Nisreyasa Siddhihi Sadharmaha. That through which Abhyudaya and Nisreyasa can get accomplished is Dharma. There we now focus on Abhyudaya. Abhyudaya is that which can give us immediate difficulty, but later a prolonged joy. This is how we saw this Abhyudaya. Then let me come now to Nisreyasa. Regarding the definition of Nisreyasa, that which may give us immediate difficulty, followed by eternal delight. Okay. There is a subtle difference between Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. In Abhyudaya offers immediate difficulty followed by prolonged delight. Nishreyasa offers us immediate difficulty followed by eternal delight. Okay. Let us take the topic of Nishreyasa later. Okay. Now let us focus more on Abhyudaya. That's the thing. Abhyudaya. Any kind of Abhyudaya, any kind of development, any kind of development around involves difficulty. In Ramayana, Sita Devi says, Na sukhat labhyate sukham. Joy doesn't lead us to joy. Only difficulty leads us to joy. This is a very important aspect of Abhyudaya. For example, let us take some examples. One example, you take some mission, okay, or some movement like Ramakrishna mission. If you read the history of Ramakrishna mission, starting from Swami Vivekananda and Swami Brahmananda, very important. When we go through the history, we understand how many troubles they had faced, how many difficulties they had faced throughout their life. We may be familiar with the stories like how Swami Vivekananda came to Chicago in a train from Mexico, and how in December winter he suffered, how he roamed in Chicago, and how could he get finally a chance to deliver a talk for some few minutes. Up to that we might have heard. After that also how he worked hard, okay, to establish this Ramakrishna mission. With him, the people, his own disciples, his own colleagues, how they all renounced and worked. He's a very experienced man. He says renunciation is very important. Renunciation is not just sannyasa in this context. In this context, renunciation he is talking about here in this context is renunciation of ego, renunciation of selfishness, renunciation of narrowness. More we think always about me, mine. Our petty ego will not bring to us Abhyudaya. On the other hand, when I start to think about my family, more than that, my community, my nation, and the whole of world, when I start to work about it, I have to compromise my ego. And I prioritize the universal welfare. It may go to that extent. You can see some rare great souls who just eliminate their ego, in whom we don't see even a drop, even an iota of ego. To that level they go. They work for others in that sense. That's the greatness. Abhyudaya. Ramakrishna mission is an example. To quote some example, I just showed Ramakrishna mission. If I have to give another example, our own nation is there. Bharat, India. How this India came? Of course, India is very old. India is not a new concept. Okay. In our Mahasankalpa, we are chanting Bharat Deshe, Bharata Khande, Meroho, Dakshine Parshve. This is called as Bharata Varsha, Bharata Khanda. We chant all these things in our Mahasankalpa. Therefore, India must be at least minimum as old as Mahasankalpa. The word Bharata comes in the great Puranas like Vishnu Purana and Bhagavatam. In the very Mahabharata, in Bhishma Parva, there is a long description of this country named Bharata. This country is named as Bharata in Mahabharata itself. Therefore, the idea of India is as old as Mahabharata. Brought this idea, how they made this idea, we don't know. I think that this idea is natural. Nobody brought it. Nobody brought this idea with the target, okay, artificially making. It naturally happened. It did not happen through a single king. Okay. Nation has a single king. Nation has a single ruler. Therefore, this nation is a single nation. Nation has a single government. No. Not through the single government, India existed. Sometimes India was ruled by some Chakravartin, like Samudragupta. It happened sometimes in some rulers' rulership, the whole nation got united. But not always. India was not India since it had a single government. India was not an India since it had a single language. Even though Sanskrit served as an unifying language, definitely. Throughout India, you have one language, that is Sanskrit, Sanskritam. Definitely. For example, if Shankara Bhagavad, a Keralite, wrote his commentaries of Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, okay, the one who was born in Kerala wrote his commentaries for Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. These commentaries were further explained by a Nepali whose name is Vachaspati Misra. Okay. Where is Nepal and where is Kerala? How a Keralite was recognized as Guru by a Nepali without internet, without WhatsApp. It happened long before. Long before. How it was possible? Only because of Sanskritam. Okay, Vachaspati Misra also knew Sanskrit. Shankara also knew Sanskrit. The common language is Sanskrit. Therefore, on seeing Sanskrit writings of Shankaracharya, those writings were appreciated, those writings were explained further by Vachaspati Misra, a Nepali. Shankara is an acharya of the whole nation. He wandered throughout the nation. If Shankaracharya is a Keralite, his further commentator is a Nepali, and his immediate successor is a Kashmiri, Sureshwaracharya, and his great disciple. They belong to various places of India. All this happened because of his Sanskritam. Very important. Of course, his message, his philosophy is also universal. But Sanskritam plays a vital role, no doubt. Still, this nation is not a nation just because of a language, a single language. This nation is not a nation because of a single government. But India is a very big country. Okay, compared to many of the European countries. A very huge landscape it has. How all these things are united and called as Bharata, not now, just long back. Even in Mahabharata, it was called as Bharata. It's because of a simple reason. The culture existing in the nation. Point number one. Point number two, the spirit behind the culture. What's the spirit? Passion of universal welfare. We all feel the passion of universal welfare. We all practice our customs and the practices, share so many common things throughout this nation. Sometimes whatever newly comes up also spreads throughout the nation. We are united through the culture and the spirit behind the culture. So, India, the nation is not new. The idea of India is not new. It is very old. It is as old as Mahabharata, I can say. But when this whole nation went to the enslavement of British, to come out of this slavery, the efforts that got involved are not of ordinary kind. The sacrifice which happened was not of ordinary kind. I am just giving all these things as examples for Abhyudaya. Okay. I need some example to explain this concept of Abhyudaya. Therefore, I am telling all these things. Please don't think that these are not connected to our topic. Let me have some few minutes. Let me go back somewhere to what Chanakya did with Chandragupta Maurya. How much hard work got involved in Chanakya's vision and Chandragupta Maurya's mission. And how Gupta worked hard. Guptas like Vikramaditya and Samudragupta, they worked hard to bring the golden era of the nation up to our times. The historians, they say that Gupta era is the golden era of India. Having Ujjain, the central India, as their capital, they brought the whole nation under the single nationhood through several means. Okay. And later, after Gupta's The nation was attacked continuously by the foreign forces. At the time, Rajputs worked hard. The amount of work, amount of efforts which we see in Rana Sangha, in Maharana Pratap Singh, these great souls, their sacrifice, their selflessness. Maharana Pratap Singh, a great king, he could have been happy. He could have led a happy life following the commands of Akbar. But he resisted Akbar throughout his life. He lived in caves and mountains and forests like Vanavas of Ramachandra. He lived with peels and cones, the poor people of his nation. Worked a lot till his deaths. With such a hard work, Rajasthan remains as Rajasthan now in its culture. Such great Rajput kings and such great Vijayanagara kings like Bukkaraya, Harihara. These are all examples for Abhyudaya. And their Guru, Vidhyaranya Swami. Of course, Krishnadevaraya and his Guru, Vyasaraya. Even though if you go to Vijayanagaram, you can see the cave in which Vyasaraya stayed. Such a royal Guru, he could have stayed somewhere in palace. But in a very detached way, a pure selfless person, Vyasaraya stayed in a cave, worshipping Ramachandra. Even now, that place is there, Kodan Ramaswamy temple. Behind the Kodan Ramaswamy temple, you can see that cave. Such a selfless attitude with which they worked for the society. Such a grand Vijayanagara kingdom came, ruled the South India for several centuries, and rescuing the South India from the foreign forces. And of course, the great Tamil kings like Sundara Pandian, later like Velu Nachiyar, those forces. Then Maratha rulers, Shahaji, Shivaji, Sambhaji, Sambhuji, so on and so forth. Bajirao Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, Raghunath Rao Peshwa, who worked hard, who worked a lot for the nation, for the sustenance of this nation. And this nation has to get rescued from the foreign attack. For that they worked hard. Shivaji's Guru Samartha Ramadas, his vision of bringing the whole nation under Dharma, starting from the Gandhara Desha to Kanyakumari. The dream of Samartha Ramadas, the dream got changed into ambition. The whole nation should have Ramarajya. The whole nation should stand for Dharma. With this great ambition, he worked hard. Samartha Ramadas wandered throughout the nation, seeing the people, addressing the issues of the people. Even in his literature, you can see how he sings in his poems about the troubles of the people. Very rare kind of poet. And he also established a great kingdom of Dharma through Shivaji Maharaj, the great Shivaji. In all these things, you can see a great hard work involved. It's not a fun. It's not a joke. Veda says, Atatta tanuhu na tadamaha asnute shrutasa idvahantastat samasata pavitrante vidatam brahmanaspate prabhur gatrani paryeshi vishwataha. This mantra is about Soma. Soma is a herbal juice which must be very tasty. Soma as a herbal juice is the exoteric meaning of the word Soma. Esoteric meaning is different. Esoteric meaning is the delight, the joy which we experience as the result of punya karmas is Soma. Precisely the rasa, I don't know how to translate this rasa in English, maybe aesthetic sense. The aesthetic sense, the rasa which flows within our heart, is the esoteric purport, esoteric meaning, the tone of the word Soma in Veda. In other Vedas too. The mantra which I quoted comes in both the Veda. Of course, in Samaveda too, sorry. Pavitram te vidatam brahmanaspate prabhurgatrani paryesh vishwataha apattatanuhu na tadamaha asnute shrutasaha idvahantastat samasata. In this mantra, contextually, the third line is very important. Atatta tanuhu na tadamaha asnute. One who doesn't work hard, one who doesn't toil, one who doesn't torment, doesn't enjoy this rasa. Very interesting. So that toil, that torment you see with Shivaji or Sambhaji or his father Shahaji, the great souls, the women belonging to their families. See, Jijamata or Tarabhai, Saibhai, Shivaji's wife, Tarabhai, the daughter-in-law of Shivaji, the efforts, even our Tanjore king on those days, his name also is Shahaji, Shivaji's brother's son. They made the great efforts to establish Dharma, to re-establish Dharma after Mughal Empire, after the tyranny of Mughal Empire. After the Shivaji and the co, you see again, this nation goes into the clutches, bondage of the British. Nation was suffering from the tyranny of British. At the time, great wave after wave, freedom fighters came. Atatta tanuhu natadamaha asnute. We did not get freedom easily. Hard work behind it. At first, it all started with whom we call as Punjab Kesari. I think Ranjit Singh, yes, of Punjab, who went against British rule. He lost his life in the war. After him, you see, first independence war, which the British people called as Sipai Mutiny. Mangal Pandey, Nana Sahib, Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai, Tantia Tope, such great freedom fighters who worked hard, almost won the British rulers. Again, there was a treatise, and Queen Victoria tactfully was able to sustain the British rule in India. Then later, there was a cultural expansion. Okay, to Swami Vivekananda, he became the seed. Okay, which later sprouted again as independence war. This is second independence war, which started perhaps with Balagangadhar Tilak Sister Nivedita, Sri Aurobindo. These three, this Holy Trinity. Following them, so many freedom fighters like Subramania Bharati in Tamil Nadu. And then first Tilak era, then Gokhale era, third Gandhi era, and Gandhi's war of Ahimsa, which was very great, successful war. Millions sacrificed their life. Millions worked hard. Millions toiled. That is how it went. Subhash Chandra Bose, his hard works, and then Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh. For what they all worked? Why they have to work? Why did they work? For what they were fighting? To get freedom for this country, one may say. Yeah, true. Getting freedom to this country, what they are going to do? There is a need of Swarajya, self-governance by Indians. Indians have to rule this country. That's the idea. Those are all fine. Those are all fine. Indians means, again the question comes, what is India? And who are Indians? Indian has to rule, which means what? Okay. Behind all these ideas, I see two things. One, the culture in the country. That includes the practices, the customs, which are shared commonly throughout the nation. I am wearing this dhoti. This is Indian culture. Throughout the nation, you can see from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, the same kind of dhoti wearing everywhere. Just simple example. Tilak. Okay. Simple example. These are the customs, practices commonly shared throughout the nation. And what do they represent? Point number two. What do these customs represent? These customs, these practices, they are designed after what? They all are designed after the spirit of universal welfare. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So, India means these two. So, Balagangadhar Tilak fought for India, Mahatma Gandhi fought for India, Subhash Chandra Bose fought for India. It means they fought for the spirit of universal welfare. They fought for the culture, the customs and the practices of India, the culture of India. They fought for India means India's culture. India means India's culture. India has its own unique culture. India means the spirit which is behind the culture of India. Okay. They all had that idea. Only that idea moved them to work hard. Coming back to the point, with a very great effort, with so many things like fasting, fighting, so many things, so many efforts involved, we got freedom for our nation. This is an example for Abhyudaya. Okay. One of the best examples for Abhyudaya. See, as soon as India got freedom, the countries nearby India, whether they fought for freedom or not, they also got, for example, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka did not fight for freedom, but it got freedom. After giving up India, the British gave up Sri Lanka too. See the impact. And the war which happened in India, war of Ahimsa, this principle, very unique principle, this was followed later by few other freedom fighters of other countries too, like Mandela, so on and so forth. In this way, India is a guide for other nations too. Coming back to the point, I'm giving an example for Abhyudaya. This is Abhyudaya. Now let me conclude with the verses in Ramayana which talk about Ramarajya. Okay, Ramarajya is an example for Abhyudaya. Let me chant these shlokas. Sarvam muditamevāsīt sarvo dharmaparo bhavat Ramamevanupashyantaha nabhyahimsam parasparam. All were happy in Ramarajya. Sarvo dharmaparaha, all were dharmic. They were reflecting Rama, therefore they were not hurting each other. Ramameva anupashyantaha nabhyahimsam parasparam. Nitya pushpaha, nitya phalaha, taravaskandha vistrutaha, kale varshi cha parjanyaha, sukasparsas cha marutaha. Trees were grown everywhere with great blossoms and fruits, so that they got heavy rain, seasonal rain, kale varshi cha parjanyaha, and healthy air. These are the two results of growing trees. Different community people were also safe, secured, and they had a good morale to work, do their job. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyaha, Shudra, Lobha, Vivarjitaha, Swakarmasu pravartante, Tushta, Swaireva, Karmabhihi. Widows were not suffering, neither they were orphaned. People did not suffer from immediate, unexpected beast attack. Na paryadevan vidhavaha, na cha vyalakritam bhayam. No threat of diseases, pandemic. Na vyadijam bhayam vapi, rame rajyam prashasati. No threat of theft. Nirdasyurabhaval lokaha, no poverty. Na anartaha kanchit asprusat, death was sequential. Nachasma vruddhaha bhalanam pretakaryani kurvate. Old men did not perform funeral rites to their own grandsons, grandchildren. Death was sequential. Ramarajya had very big families. Each family had 50 to 60 members. Uncles and aunties and father, mother, grannies and grandappas, great-grandfather, all those things. Having such huge families, they did not fight each other. In the family, no quarrel, no politics in family. It's because in every family, the women are like Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra giving birth to attract them.
Onna?
In every family, the women are like Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi giving birth to Rama like, Bharata like, Lakshmana like children. Raghavena yata mata Sumitra Lakshmanena che Bharatena cha Kaikeyi Jivaputraha tata striyaha. This is how Valmiki describes Ramarajya. And this Ramarajya is one of the best examples for, one more example for Abhyudaya. These are several examples for Abhyudaya. I started with a movement as case study, Ramakrishna Mission. I could have given so many examples. So many examples are there, especially in India, for this thing. But in the available time, we saw 3 examples. We started with the Ramakrishna Mission. Then we went to a very big movement, that is freedom fighting movement. That too starting from Chandragupta Maurya up to the recent days of Subhash Chandra Bose. And then third one, the concept of Ramarajya. These are several examples. Not only Ramarajya, you see. Of course, Ramarajya is only a representative, it's a sample. Okay. When you go through how Dasharatha ruled, you can get some glimpses of Ramarajya. And if you take Mahabharata, very interesting. Yayati's rule, and Dushyanta's rule, and Bharata's rule, and Yudhishthira's rule. All these things are described in Mahabharata in detail. You can see such a benevolent government in all these things. We need to go through those chapters first. In the names of all these kings, only Ramarajya is described. The concept behind this is Ramarajya. Is called as Ramarajya. Okay. Ramarajya is found in the 100th chapter of Ayodhya Kanda, where Ramachandra is advising Bharata regarding governance, regarding governing the state. Okay. In this way, these governments, government of Yayati, government of Shantanu, government of Yudhishthira, described in Mahabharata, also can be the examples for Abhyudaya. So with this, let us conclude Abhyudaya. In the next session, we shall go to explore Nishrayasa. A very important thing which I want to share with you is, in all the 3, Atra, Abhyudaya and Nishrayasa, in all the 3 definitions, you see one common element, that is joy. Atha also has joy, immediate joy followed by a long misery. Abhyudaya, immediate difficulty followed by a long delight. Nishrayasa, immediate difficulty followed by eternal delight. So in all the 3, common element is delight, joy, happiness. So there is a need here to explore what is happiness. Unless we explore what is happiness, the definition of Dharma is not fulfilled. Therefore, we shall explore what is happiness from the next session. Dhanyavada. Ram Ram.